I'm nervous. All right, everybody, welcome back. And if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I'm actually doing something a little bit different today. So normally I talk about books. That has been my niche that I've always been in. But I realized today, or actually I have realized for a little bit, that I've never actually spoken about the fact that I have become a full-time content creator. And I've been a full-time content creator for like 5 months now. And I've never actually addressed the fact that I went from being a CPA, which is a certified public accountant. I was a CPA for 5 years. I worked for a Big Four accounting firm. So anybody in the field would know exactly what that means. Horrific. In the end of October, I actually quit my job to become a full-time content creator. And I've actually never really dived into what that looked like and how that happened and how I got there. And if I'm good at anything, it is psychoanalyzing myself. So let's be honest, the reason I've never actually brought it up is because it still feels not real to me. Like the idea that I went to school, I worked really, really hard for a degree, and then I went into that field and I followed the path of life that everyone's supposed to follow, right? Like you leave high school, you go to college, then you get your degree, which I didn't follow. True. I actually went to school for like 8 years because I kept switching my major. I actually dropped out of college. I was a college dropout, and then I worked for a year, and then I came back. During my time in college, I was always working. So I would work like 2 to 3 jobs at a time. I was like fully self-dependent. Like my parents, actually, everybody tells the story of like, I moved away for college. Like, no, my parents were like, you're in college? Yeah, we're leaving. And they left states. So I was completely on my own, no family, nothing, and like no financial help. So like I always worked in college and stuff like that. But there was a point that I was going to school to be a teacher. Then I realized I didn't want to do that. So I was like, F it. Like I was a general manager at the Zaxby's at the time. So I just was like, oh, I'll drop out. I'll become a district manager. Like I'll work my way up. I can make more money doing that than teaching, which the sad part is it's true. Like you could literally make more money working in a fast food restaurant than you can as teaching. And that says everything you need to know about the education system in America. But like, I digress. So I took a year off and I was doing that. And I found that like, I wasn't fulfilled. Like I just didn't, like there was just something off about it. And so I actually changed jobs, and I went and worked as a server. I'd never served before, but I started serving at like this private golf and country club. And during that time, they actually offered a scholarship program. So I was like, you know what, like if the world is screaming at me to go back to school. So I went back to school, and since I was liking business, right? Like I was a general manager, I really liked that side. I was like, oh yeah, I'll go back to school for business, but like, you know, I don't want to be generic, like basic bitch, you know what I mean? So I said I was gonna go to school for marketing because that just seemed fun, like the hot girls market, you know what I mean? And I get there and nope, absolutely not. I was like, I'm not creative enough. I don't know what the heck is going on. So I changed my major again. So keep in mind, I was education, then I was a math major. I didn't mention that, but like I was going to be a math teacher. What happened was I actually got in a really bad car accident and like kind of forgot calculus 2. And so I really struggled with calculus 3, but the goal was to be a calculus teacher. Then I dropped out. Then I went to school and I was like, I'll be a marketing major. And then I was like, nah, that's not it. And so you have to, when you're in the business school, you have to take accounting, finance, marketing, and like basic business classes as like prereqs before you really get into your major. And so I was taking an accounting class, and I actually got a 56 on my first accounting test, and I almost dropped out of school again. I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Like this, ew, gross. So I stuck it out, and I went to this second accounting class, and that made more sense because it was more business oriented. It's like, if you have these many things, like how does that work? Cost accounting. And so I ended up doing really well, and the professor was like, you need to go change your major to accounting. And so I went to go talk to my guidance counselor, and he's like, bitch, you cannot change your major again. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, life is hard, okay? Like, I had no parents that went to college. Like, I'm the first one navigating this. I don't know what this looks like. And so he's like, all right, listen, I will change your major one more freaking time you little indecisive brat, but you're stuck. And so I was stuck in accounting, and luckily it worked out. I was actually really, really, really good at accounting. But my professors would tell me, like, if you're going to accounting without like the plan of getting your CPA, which, like, the best way I could describe it is like getting your bar exam to be a lawyer. Like, you have to take like these extra tests that you have to study tremendously for, and you have to get certain credits and all this stuff. They're like, if you're not going to do that, then you're going to waste your life away doing like basic accounting, which is just boring. So I was like, fuck it. I don't know what a CPA is. I have no idea. Again, my parents never did any of this. This is not like my dad was a CPA and I followed his steps, right? So I was like, fuck it. I guess that's what I'm doing. And I did not know what a Big Four accounting firm was. I had no freaking clue. And then one day somebody walks in and was like, I'm a double major. And I remember her being like, really smart, and everyone's like, if anyone makes it into Big Four, she's gonna make it. She's like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know what a Big Four is, but I'm gonna fucking make it. Like, I've always been that person that's like, fuck it. Like, if anyone could do it, why not me? Apparently, except for marketing, which is funny that now I'm a full-time content creator, but I didn't know then, okay? Like, I was still so young. So I ended up getting my degree. I did a couple master's courses, but since I went to school for so fucking long, I didn't actually have to get my master's degree to sit for my CPA exam. So I then studied, and it took me about a little over a year. I was planning a wedding, graduating college, starting my job at the Big Four, and getting my CPA. Like, it's a lot. It was a lot. But, and raising a 2-year-old. So life was difficult. But then I got through all of that. And so I actually loved my job as a CPA I was an auditor. So everyone's favorite person. Ryan and my daughter like to call me an otter. What the fuck is that? That's not what an otter means. But I actually loved my job for like a really long time. Like, a lot of people start working, because if you don't know what Big Four accounting is, it's like every year you have to go through a busy season where you're required to work a minimum of 55-hour weeks. A lot of times, there was times I was working 90-hour weeks. It is, for lack of better, it's toxic. It's toxic as fuck. But like, it's a grind, right? Like, you're in your 20s, like, hell yeah. Like, every year at least what they push you is like, every year in public accounting hours is like 2 or 3 in industry. So like, you're just gonna like rapidly grow from raises and like position. At least that's what they said. So I was like grinding it out. I'm good to go. And then COVID hit, right? And so that was my second year, and we got no raises. So I went through that horrendous first year. I was traveling. They were forcing me to stay like 4 hours away from my house for like weeks on end. And it was just horrendous, but I still liked the job. So I was like, it's fine. Okay, no raise for COVID, like maybe the next year. And so like the next year it got better, like got a much bigger raise. I was the highest performing person in my class for all the 5 years that I was there. So like I was like taken care of financially. Again, at least I thought. I've learned a lot since I've left, that apparently maybe that's not the case. But anyway, like, I liked the job. There was no like goal of mine. It never was a goal of mine to become in social media. In fact, I didn't have a Facebook. I didn't have an Instagram. I didn't have a Snapchat. Like, I actually got off social media, like, personally for like years. No, I didn't care. Like, I had no preference to be there. So it's not even like I was like a huge Instagram person or Facebook person and it just kind of translated. But for years, maybe like 2 years, I was on TikTok, and I kept telling my husband, one day I want to make a TikTok. One day I want to make a TikTok. And he's like, just do it. Just do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so nervous. Like, I don't know. Like, the 4 people that follow me know me. Like, that's embarrassing. And so it was randomly one day I was working. So like, again, this was not the plan. This is crazy to me. And that's why I think it's still so hard for me to talk about it, because it's like, is this even fucking real, right? Like, I hit the plus sign to make a video on TikTok, and it was a trending sound, and it's from, I don't know what show it is, but she's like, you look good like that, Connie baby, or whatever the sound is, right? And I had the sound playing, and then it's music after that, and the text on screen I added, like, when he puts on the 5-inch inseams and his hat is backwards. And I posted it being like, oh my gosh, that's so weird, right? And because keep in mind, I'm like 29 at the time. Like, I'm so old. And so I posted it, and it got like 1,000 views. like 99 likes, and like people were commenting, and people were like, put this on his For You page, and I'm like, oh my God, like that was really cool. And so that feeling, that rush, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's fucking sick, right? And so I did another one, and it was like my transformation of my patio or something. We were working on my patio. That did really well too. And then I did something else. And then all of a sudden I made a talking one, but it was really short. It was like something to the tune of like, I don't know who needs to hear it, but it's 95 degrees outside. It's not fucking fall yet because it was September in Florida. And then I like pan over to see that I had already decorated my house. And I said, oh, it's me. I need to hear that. And I'll never forget, it got like 200 views and 19 likes and stopped. Insert crashing sound. And I went, what the fuck? Like, what happened? And then enter in my range of 200 view jail that we like to call on TikTok, right? For like extended amount of time. And so it took learning to realize like your first couple videos do like relatively well. The algorithm's liking you're using sounds, you're kind of like introducing yourself. And then after that, it's like, hey, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, you're all over the map. Your hashtags don't make sense. Your niche doesn't make sense. Like nothing about it makes sense. Nobody knows what to expect from you. They're following you from something, but like they don't know what to expect from you. That's the introduction of like the emotional, like you had a high and now you have a low. And so I kind of got over that, like kind of figured out like, okay, like that's just how it is. And so I kept trying. And then I realized that's when I like to read, and nobody in my life learn to read. Sorry, nobody liked to read, so I had nobody to talk to. So I realized, holy cow, there's a platform that if I talk to the camera and post it, there's people on the other side willing to listen to that. And so that's when I found my niche of reading. And so I really started off like super small. I think I got like 10 followers a week, and I was pumped. Like that's so fucking exciting. And people were talking to me, and like we were engaging back and forth, and that's how it started. And I really, really enjoyed that, like the sense of community. And again, no plan to make anything of it. It was just like the furthest thing from my head. I just wanted to connect with people, and I finally had that opportunity. So that's how it started. And then I started doing skits. Like I was a reader. I didn't really talk about the books I read like tremendously, but I would talk about like the feelings of a reader, and I would change them into skits. And apparently people love that. So they're like, hey, I relate to this. So like one night, it was like January 3rd. I had started my account in October. By January, I went and made a skit and I uploaded it, and it just, in my brain at that time, blew up. I had 30,000 views overnight, and I was like, what the heck? Someone's like, how's this not viral? And I'm like, bitch, that is viral. Like, I'm bummed. And so I actually got like 500 followers in a day, and I was like, what is happening? I can't breathe. Oh no, wait, sorry. That's not the right one. This was December. I made a skit. It was like pretending that Audible or Kindle did their version of Spotify Wrapped. That was it. And I got like 500 followers overnight, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden I got 2,000 more followers. So I went from like 500 followers to like 3,000. And then the rest of December was fine. But then January 3rd, I made another skit, and it was dark romance readers as a dispatcher. And that skit brought me like within 2 days from the 3,000 followers to 10,000 followers. And it was insane. Like that video over time ended up getting 1 million views. It was crazy. And I recently reposted it, and it got another 900,000 views from a repost. So I was just like, what the fuck? Ryan was like, my husband was like, oh my gosh. And at 10,000 followers, you get to get monetized. So we made a little tax code, we made an LLC, and we have it. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to make money on this. That's crazy. And I think the first month, I think I made like $65. And I was like, whoa, like calm down. And so then February goes, and I think I made $233 in February, and then like March I made 650 and on views. So the way TikTok works is like, if your video is 1 minute long, you have 10,000 followers, you are in the program, the creator, what's it called? Creator Insight, no, that's not it. That's not it. The Creator Reward Program. They'll pay you if your video is more than a minute. They'll pay you based off every 1,000 views of people that watch for more than 5 seconds and they saw it on the For You page. So there's a lot of fucking rules. So like if you come to my profile and just watch, that doesn't count. If you see my video on your For You page, but you don't stay for 5 seconds, that doesn't count. Like it's crazy, it's stupid. But anyway, I was pumped. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting some money. That's so exciting. Again, no plan on quitting my job. Just, it was fun to do on the side. And then April hit and I made $2,600 off views. Like I was just, I brought Ryan, my husband in, we were just flowing. We were doing like skits and would you rathers and like book boyfriend things. And it was all in the bookish community and it was so fun. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And so the idea went from like, this is a cool side thing to like, this is a really, really cool side thing. Again, no dream of quitting my job. That didn't come until like maybe July or August, when the seed started to like plant of like, maybe I could do this full time. So like, since then I had started to get like more like brand deal style. So like if you are going to be in social media, the money doesn't come from views. Like the view money is cool, that's exciting, but like it's not consistent. So I said I made $2,500 or $2,600 in April. Well, that August I made $500. Like it's not consistent. It's very hard to know like what people want, what the algorithm wants, what it pushes. But brand deals is where it's going to be like, okay, like I have something to kind of anchor to. So like I started working with authors and I'm very like big on my integrity. I didn't want that to be tarnished. So it was like me and the authors communicate like, hey, if I read your book, I'll read it completely for free. Like there's no like attachments for this. But if I liked it enough to rate it 4 or 5 stars, then I will make a video that's like an ad video for you that you can then promote on TikTok so more people know about your book, because every author has to promote their book. So they can either self-promote, they can go to a marketing firm, or they can go to other creators. So I think that's actually a really cool thing in the community, but I think people can like mess it up. And so a lot of people are like, I don't trust anyone that promotes books. And it's like, the book has to be promoted some way, that you just have to realize that the creator has to have their own integrity. And if you don't trust the integrity of the creator, then so be it. But a lot of people will say like, as soon as I see the word ad, I scroll. And it's like, at that point, that creator no longer owns the video. Like, they like signed away the fact that they could get paid for it. And a lot of times it's the author that's paying extra to promote it. So the only person you're hurting is the author, not the creator. So that's always been like kind of a rough thing with the community, but it is what it is. But I started getting like my brand deals. I think I got my first one in May, and then I got some in July. And then by October, I want to say I made like 10 videos. Like it was crazy. Like it just starts ramping up. And I never increased my rates or anything like that until after. And I realized I was like wildly undercharging. And I was like, well, that's probably why I was getting 12 brand deals a month. It works both ways, right? So, but yeah, I kind of got to a point where I was struggling to keep up with both, right? Because I was working in a field that was very demanding. My hours were very demanding. I was working from home a lot, but then it turned to working in office a lot. And so like the commute to my client site was an hour away. So I had to make a choice. I either had to give up making the content and fully like full port the fact I was going to be an auditor, that I was gonna gun for partner, that I was gonna like make that everything, or I was gonna go vice versa. There's no way you could do both, right? And so I took a chance. I said, you know what, like I would rather work and try and fail at making a name for myself than work and work and work to make a name for a Big Four accounting firm. Right? Like I don't care to make more money for you. I want to make something for myself. And so has it been a leap of faith? Of course it has been. I've been very fortunate in the 5 months that I've been doing this, that I have been able to actually match my salary that I was bringing home as an auditor. But like that is going to look different. Like currently I'm working on making a shift in my content. I've can make a whole different video, but like I've always been in the bookish community, and I'm kind of trying to move out of the bookish community to be more in the couples content with my husband. I find more joy and more fulfillment from that. I'm not very good about talking about books. I'll talk about them. I love to read, but I don't overanalyze. I read for fun. So like I think that the bookish community needs people that will overanalyze and will kind of talk through it when they're really like wanting to be a part of that community, while I'm over here just like, heck yeah, I read the book. So like, but what I can't talk about is like healthy marriages, relationship advice, stuff like that. I'm also huge on fitness, so I'm going to actually start a new podcast that talks about that. And I know that like all of this is, there's no following for it yet. And so like that actually is, ironically, like I quit my job as an accountant to become a like social media person that talks about books, and now I'm actually trying to make another career shift to be social media that talks about like lifestyle type content, but in a way that's like relatable. I think that we see a lot of lifestyle creators that are so cute and so aesthetic and everything like that, and I'm like, oh my god, I love them, but like I'm not cute, nor am I aesthetic. I cuss like a sailor. I say things that are on my mind. I am all over the place. Some days I am so cute and some days I am not. And so like, I think just showing the real side of that, like I would love to see it. So I think that would be content I'd be super passionate about. So I'm going to take a chance, another career shift. But with that said, like a lot comes down to maybe the money is paused a little bit, and that's obviously nerve-wracking for everybody, but I'm truly believing that if you focus on the inputs that you're putting in, so like if every single day, just like when I started my channel, I was posting 2 to 3 times a day of stuff I wanted to talk about, not like because I was forced to like post that content. No, it's like, this is an area I like to talk about. I'm passionate about it. Like I'm a reader and I'm having the great time. So I'm just going to talk about that. And that was my input. And it flowed through to the people on the other end being like, I relate to this. I connect with this. And so that's how I grew. And so I didn't worry about the output. I did not worry about the views. I did not worry about the money until all of a sudden there was pressure on it. And then I did notice that there was a lot of pressure on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that didn't do well. This didn't do well. And it was nerve-wracking. And it was like, I don't know, I did that for like 2 months and it became not fun. And so I had to do a little soul searching to be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, the fuck? Like, who cares if it didn't do well? Just make another one. Like, make another one. Have fun. The whole point of creating content is to have fun, to be relatable, to be enjoyable. Like, if you're stressing about it, ain't nobody gonna watch your shit. Like, it's true, you know? So once I started to kind of bring it back to where I'm having fun with it again, I saw it flow and I'm having a great time with it again. So, needless to say, that is, I like to say, like, people ask all the time, is creating content hard? Yes and no. I think from like physically, like I am not on my feet. There's been times where I was working on my feet, but I think my longest shift ever was like 32 hours. Like, I'm not working on my feet the way I was when I was a general manager at a fast food restaurant or a server. I'm not mentally exhausted the way I was when I was an auditor and I was working like 7 a.m. to 2 like a.m. shifts. But from a mental standpoint, like, nobody's holding your hand. No one's here to tell you, like, get up and make content today. Go ahead and create today. Like, no one's forcing you to do that. If I wanted to spend all day right now and be in bed and watch my favorite series and read my favorite book, like, nothing would happen. Like, nobody's coming to save me, right? So, but also I would get nothing. Like, I would get nothing from it. So, like, mentally, it's definitely a different game of, like, you have to be that person for yourself. And also mentally, like, you're putting yourself out there to the world of really shitty people. Like, there's great people and then there's really fucking shitty people. And so you have to mentally be prepared for like the comments that are going to come in and stuff like that. And I will never look at you and tell you, you signed up for this, you're doing social media. Fuck that. Block them. Like, you don't deserve that. You never signed a piece of paper being like, hey, I'm okay with getting everybody else's opinion about myself. No, okay, like, those people have mental illnesses if they're thinking, like, I'm gonna go on the internet today and be a fucking bully. Like, fuck them, you know? But you kind of have to learn how to work through that, because my first negative comment, I cried for like 6 hours. Like, I thought I was a horrible person. I was like, I'll never make content again. Like, I didn't mean to offend anyone because I'm an empath that way. But you have to kind of learn to be like, no, you're just done. So anyway, I don't know if that was super helpful, but if anybody is making content, I would love to like kind of give more advice. So if anyone wants it, let me know. If anyone's more curious about like what my day in life would look like, I obviously can bring you through, but I'm also letting you know that my content is gonna change. Like I said, I'm gonna start my podcast more on the fitness. I just finished 75 hard, which is a fitness challenge. I feel fantastic. Ryan and I are actually starting over again, and I would love to take people through that journey. I could have 3 people that watch my videos, and I don't care. It is something I am so passionate about. So right now I'm focusing on the inputs, and my inputs is just going to talk about that because I want to. Like, I'm really excited for it. So if you followed me for my book recs, it's not that I'm not going to ever talk about books again, but I am just kind of starting a new journey. And it's just going to look a little bit different. And if you are a content creator and you also feel like there's times and you're in a new season, like, and you're scared to leave one season that you know worked to try another one, I think that's just part of it, right? Like, I just think that like we're going to go through journeys. You lose followers to gain different followers. And I think all that matters is the content you're creating, you feel passionate about, you feel inspired about, because that's going to flow through. You'll feel much better about doing it versus saying, I can't let go of this version of myself and grow to be the version I am now because my followers want to see this. And it's like, your followers aren't actually like supporters of you if they can't grow with you. You know what I mean? Like, now, obviously, there's going to be times that's like, I followed you for fitness, and all of a sudden now you're doing something completely different. Like, maybe they will unfollow you, but like, that means they just wanted you for one thing, not you. Isn't that kind of like, it's like the friends that you make along the way. Sometimes it's ready to like cut them loose. You just grew apart. So I don't know. That's my advice. Hopefully that made sense to you. But if none of this made sense to anybody, I'm sorry. I have no notes. Literally, I just turned on the camera and started talking. So sorry for that. But if you are curious about my new journey, please like, subscribe, whatever it is that you do on YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next video.